Part 6, Scripting and Meta References. Alright, so let's just add all the meta references and properties that we're going to need. So we're going to need brush size. Brush size will allow us to scale the brush we're painting with. We'll set the default size to the same size as the brush plane or overlay. We want to control the opacity of the brush. Default to 100%. We want to be able to control the brush color. That's the color of the brush overlay. We'll want to control the color and the alpha. Now, GUI intercepted is something for the input coming up, but we need to know if a button was clicked rather than somebody painting on the canvas. In that case, we would want it to skip painting on the canvas because it was part of the button click. We're going to want a couple paint modes. We want to be able to draw and erase. Our default will be set to draw. Alright, so we don't have a color wheel or a color picker. So we just use an array of key value pairs to allow the user to pick the name of the color while we set the actual color RGB value. Alright, we want to keep track of the button state. So in the update event that's happening every frame, we want to know when the user clicks the button and drags, we need to know if they've kept the button down or in the last update if the button was up. We also want to record the pixels from the last time we applied the texture so that we can detect changes, and also for performance reasons we don't want to update constantly. And we also use the copy to in the opacity logic. Alright, we use a timer just to delay updates to the texture. If we updated the texture every frame, we might get slow performance. We'll just set a minimum value default. Again, we need to be able to detect changes. We don't want to apply a texture change unless there is a change. We need another using statement to get access to date time. We can ignore the warnings for now because we haven't applied the logic yet. Just wants to tell us that those variables are unused. All right, start is another event on the mono behavior, and we just want to add a placeholder for it. Now, let's just add a little bit of logic. This is a method to update the position of the brush overlay, given the mouse position. So we use the mouse position, and we convert it to game space, or 3D space, from screen space by changing it to array. We get the existing position because we only want to use the X and Z position. The height for the brush overlay can stay fixed. It won't change. We modify X and Z, and then we set the position of the brush overlay once we've modified the vector. If our meta reference is null for some reason, just return, prevent an exception. It's always good to have error checking. And in the update event, each frame will call update brush overlay to update the brush overlay with the mouse position. Now we should be able to see our changes. We have some logic in play now where if we play, we will be able to see the brush overlay move as we move the mouse. Excellent. Also, all the meta references that we made public, we should be able to see in the inspector. So if we go to the scene view, select our camera, we'll see the meta references that we've added. All right. On our color meta reference, we have access to the color picker, but it won't affect our brush material yet because we haven't added that logic yet. So we'll just keep it as white. Next up, input and GUI interaction. Booyah!